nervous system in the previous unit, that is unit 2. We saw there the biosynthesis and metabolism of catecholamines, right? As part of adrenergic system in the last unit, we saw the metabolism and biosynthesis of catecholamines. The chief catecholamines were dopamine, noradrenaline, and adrenaline, right? Then after we proceeded forward. So in order to see adrenergic agonists and antagonists, the classification, the chemical structures of the drugs, and the synthesis for the important drugs. So moving forward, we have to start with our unit 3, that is cholinergic nervous system, can be called as parasympathetic nervous system. The name cholinergic indicates that the chief neurotransmitter in the parasympathetic nervous system is acetylcholine. That is the reason we are calling it as cholinergic nervous system. So we need to see the biosynthesis and catabolism or breaking down of acetylcholine. Okay, so generally the slide which is shown here is depicting the biosynthesis of the acetylcholine. So it happens by the combination of choline, choline, choline molecule with acetyl coenzyme. Acetyl coenzyme is prepared from the mitochondria inside the cell. After the acetyl coenzyme from the mitochondria, when it reaches cytoplasm of the cell, then it will be combined with acetate and ATP. Okay, acetate with the help of ATP and only coenzyme. Coenzyme, acetate and ATP will make up acetyl coenzyme in mitochondria. Then acetyl coenzyme will come into the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, this acetyl coenzyme will come in contact with choline molecules. Choline molecules will be transported from the extracellular fluid, okay, into the cytoplasm by active transport. Active transport means the system of exchange of any molecules by consuming energy, okay, that is called active transport. So choline molecules are dragged inside the cell cytoplasm through active transport from extracellular fluid. There in the cytoplasm they combine together form acetylcholine. Okay, that acetylcholine will be packed into small vesicles in the neuron cell. Okay, they will be stored in vesicles. When some action potential comes, the action potential means the signal, the stimuli. When such stimuli is initiated to release acetylcholine, there will be an exchange of sodium and potassium ions or calcium ions in flux. So depending on the potential, that will initiate the release of acetylcholine from the vesicles. Okay, before they get released, the vesicle goes to the membrane of the nerve ending. It will, by attaching itself to the nerve ending through exocytosis, okay, it will release acetylcholine into the synapse. Synapse is the gap between two neurons. So if you see here, ATP is energy provider, acetate is a molecule, and coenzyme is an enzyme. Three are into the action inside the mitochondria. Okay, this reaction will produce acetyl coenzyme inside the mitochondria and will be transported into the cytoplasm. Inside the cytoplasm, the choline is dragged inside the cytoplasm through active transport from extracellular fluid. Here they will combine together form acetylcholine. So this acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter in the parasympathetic nervous system. So the structure of acetylcholine, its salt form is chloride. If you observe nitrogen ion, that is ammonium. In ammonia, the both hydrogens are replaced by methyl groups, and one lone pair is also utilized to attach another CH3. So 3 CH3 groups, and if you see CH2 ethyl bridge, okay, ethyl bridge and CH3COO, acetate ion. Okay, so acetyl chloride has acetate ion linked with methyl group to the amine. That amine will have 3 more methyl groups attached to it. So if you observe, if you compare it with the catecholamines, here you miss catechol ring, but you have amine. There amine was mostly primary or secondary. Here it is quaternary amine, quaternary ammonium ion, because this nitrogen is attached to 4 methyl groups on 4 sides. So it is called as quaternary. So as nitrogen is losing its lone pair of electrons, the charge attained is positive here. So in order to balance this positive charge on quaternary ammonium, it will exist in the form of chloride salt. Okay, so chloride minus will make it an acetyl chloride salt form. Okay, so quaternary ammonium compound, okay, with acetate ion having one methyl group in between them is the structure of acetylcholine chloride. Okay, so if you see how these steps are described here. So generally acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter at what all are the sites? Parasympathetic neuroeffector junctions, okay, and autonomic ganglia where the two neurons, preganglionic and postganglionic neurons meet at the ganglia, okay, and adrenal medulla, somatic neuromuscular junction. Somatic nervous system is directly related to the skeletal muscles, okay, and in CNS also. So here I would like to give you a hint that the acetylcholine plays an important role in cognition. Cognition means memory. Okay, so it has central nervous system actions which are under current exploration. Okay, it is acetylcholine is playing a vital role in cognitive functions. So it is being explored by the scientists with respect to the central nervous system. So just keep it in your mind in order in case if you want to do some research in future, maybe in your final year. So keep it aside and try to explore something on this. Okay. Then if you see what happens that I have described is presented here in the form of description. Okay. So if you see the synthesis, storage and release, first acetylcholine is synthesized in the cholinergic nerve endings. Cholinergic nerve endings. So there is a reaction that will use acetate, coenzyme A and ATP. 3 will initiate a reaction that will cause the formation of acetyl coenzyme. That is formed within the mitochondria and will be released into cytoplasm. Okay. Choline molecules enters into the exoplasm, that is cytoplasm means cell. This cell is axon, so we can also call it as exoplasm. So by active transport through the axonal membrane, crossing the membrane of the axon. So after a reaction among acetate, coenzyme and ATP, acetyl coenzyme is formed within the mitochondria. So it is a repetition. Okay, please ignore the second one. The same is repeated again. So after the synthesis, then acetyl coenzyme will combine with choline and form acetylcholine. Then after it is synthesized, it will be transported into the synthetic vesicles. Okay. Then it will be stored in those vesicles. Then when action potential related to the stimulus, that will release the synaptic cleft. They will be released through synaptic cleft, okay, by exocytosis. That means sending out of the cell is exocytosis. The process is exocytosis by merging with the membrane present at synaptic cleft. So when an action potential arrives at the motor or cholinergic nerve terminal, depolarization of the area opens the voltage gated calcium channels on the axonal membrane, through which calcium enters into exoplasm and helps in fusion of vesicles with axonal membrane, resulting in extrusion of a large quantity of acetylcholine. What it is saying, how the vesicle is getting attached to the membrane during the process of exocytosis. For this to happen, calcium ion channels are into the play, where calcium ions are coming in and initiating and sustaining that depolarization. That is sustaining the stimulus, the signal to release the acetylcholine. Okay, so don't get confused here. It is a signal to release acetylcholine. When a signal to release acetylcholine is there, what process is happening is described here. So when a signal to release acetylcholine is there, a depolarization action potential means initiation, signal starting, will happen when calcium ions intrude into the axonal membrane. Okay. Then after that will cause the fusion of vesicles with that of synaptic cleft. Then the process of exocytosis happens and the acetylcholine molecules will be released into the nerve ending, gap between nerve ending and the other neurons. Cell release. What happens? Acetylcholine will be acted upon by choline esterase, enzyme called choline esterase. Again, that will be broken down. Acetylcholine, after showing its action, will be broken down into again acetyl coenzyme and choline molecules, and they will be again recycled to form new molecule of acetylcholine. Again, the same process and the cycle repeats. So this is the biosynthesis of acetylcholine. And if you see the distribution of cholinergic receptor, the same table we saw while discussing adrenergic receptors. Okay, so parasympathetic or cholinergic receptors are mainly divided into nicotinic, capital N, and muscarinic, capital M. Okay, and there are subtypes. In nicotinic, you have NN. They are predominantly present at neuromuscular junctions. Okay, NN. Second type of nicotinic are present at neuronal junctions. Okay. Apart from nicotinic type of receptors, muscarinic receptors denoted by M have subtypes called M1, M2, M3 mainly. M1, M2, M3. So if you observe here, so you have innervation, the receptors distribution at heart, blood vessels. Blood vessels have M2, heart have M2, and if you see smooth muscles, they are innervated with M3. Okay, and most of the visceral organs are embedded with M3 type of muscarinic receptor. Okay, if you see eye, it is again M3. Skin, there is no receptor. Salivary glands have M3, and lacrimal glands have M3 receptors. So this is the distribution of cholinergic receptors. So you please refer to the table again and compare it with the adrenergic receptors, alpha, beta also. Okay, so try to remember the type of receptors along with the organs. Which organ has which type of sympathetic receptor and which type of parasympathetic receptor present inside it. Okay. So this is a schematic representation of what the process is happening. If you observe there, that is the axon nerve ending. This the yellow one is nerve ending. So the initial reaction is that cholinestyl transferase is the enzyme coming and transferring choline into acetylcholine. Okay, that is combination of choline and acetyl coenzyme. Okay, is forming acetylcholine. Once the acetylcholine is formed, it is transported into this vesicle, brown colored vesicle. They will be stored in that vesicle. When action potential comes in, okay, the calcium influx happens and this membrane depolarizes and this vesicle comes and binds to this, you see the U type, inverted U type of cleft, that is the synaptic cleft. It will bind here at the membrane and opens up, and these acetylcholine molecules will be released in this gap, synapse. And after that, they will show their action on the either muscarinic M-type receptor or nicotinic N-type parasympathetic cholinergic receptors. After showing its action by binding, then again it will be acted upon by either acetylcholinesterase or butyrylcholinesterase. There are two types of esterase that will act on acetylcholine to metabolize it or catabolize it. Catabolism is breaking down. Okay, so acetylcholine will be broken down into choline and acetyl coenzyme again, and will be these choline molecules again will be through active transport will be again used for the construction of next acetylcholine molecule, and this acetyl coenzyme again will be regenerated. Okay, and the cycle continues. So this is the table showing you the distribution of M1, M2 and M3 receptors with what actions they perform. So generally, if you see the location, this table is taken from KD Tripathi textbook of medical pharmacology. Okay. So at SA node, you have M2 type of receptor will be decreasing the hyperpolarization, and that will cause decreased rate of impulse generation. The signal vibrations are there no from SA node, those will be reduced. They automatically decrease the heart rate. Okay, contraction of the heart will be reduced, so that heart rate will be reduced. And if you see the type of receptor is G protein coupled receptor, you must have learned the types of receptors. There are four main types of receptors. One is GPCR, ligand gated ion channels, okay, kinase receptors, and nuclear receptors. Among four, these receptors belongs to G protein coupled receptors. Okay. So this is a pharmacological classification of cholinergic drugs, cholinomimetics. Okay. And this is the table showing nicotinic N type of parasympathetic cholinergic receptors where they are distributed. And anticholinergic drugs, that means cholinolytics. Okay. So this is pharmacological classification. It may be helpful for your pharmacology. So now I'll give you the classification according to our syllabus in our medicinal chemistry 1. Okay. For that I'll be sharing my whiteboard. Give me a moment. Can you see the whiteboard?
Yes, sir.
So now let us see the classification of parasympathomimic. Okay, let's see the classification. Whiteboard is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, para. Parasympathomimetics or cholinomimetics. This is I. Let's see the classification. So they are mainly divided into direct acting agents and indirect acting agents. This is one, and indirect acting agents. Fine. So under direct acting agents, you have further subgroups: choline esters and cholinomimetic alkaloids. Cholinomimetic alkaloids. So two categories are there. And coming to the indirect acting, you have reversible, irreversible, and cholinesterase reactivators. So these are the main categories. So the main categories are direct acting agents and indirect acting agents. Under direct acting agents, you have two subcategories. One is cholinesterase, the other one is cholinomimetic alkaloid. And in under indirect acting agents, you have three subcategories. One is reversible, other one is irreversible, third one is cholinesterase reactivator. So here I would like to give you a clarity how they act. So according to the classification, cholinesters means they will mimic the structure of acetylcholine. There will be structural changes comparable to that of acetylcholine, natural acetylcholine. Okay, so they will mimic. And a chemical, as we are discussing with respect to chemical structures, there is a natural alkaloid which are also acting as mimetic. So there is a alkaloid. Example is nothing but pilocarpine. Pilocarpine is a natural alkaloid which acts as cholinomimetic. Okay, and if you see for cholinesters, the examples are acetylcholine, abbreviated as capital A CH, carbachol, bethanicol, and methacholine. Methacholine. So these four are the examples for cholinesters. So acetylcholine, the synthetic one will resemble as it is, like how we saw its structure in our biosynthesis. And carbachol, bethanicol, and methacholine are analogs, like means they are similar to the structure of acetylcholine. We have to compare their structures with that of acetylcholine. Okay, and cholinomimetic alkaloids example is pilocarpine. Okay, and next we'll see indirect acting agents in a fresh page. So let's see indirect acting. Indirect acting drugs. First one is reversible. So examples are physostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine or pyridostigmine, hydrophonium chloride, that means chloride salt form. Ambinonium chloride, and tacrin, TACRIN, tacrin. So these all are the examples for reversible in action, and they comes under indirect acting parasympathomimetics. So okay, and if you see the second category, that is irreversible. So the examples include isofluorophate, ISOFLUOROPHAT, isofluorophate, ecothiopate, parathion, and malathion. So I just want you to remember one thing here. When you see irreversible sympathomimetics, okay, generally acetylcholine has to be released and show its action, and it should be immediately catabolized, so that a signal goes, performs an action and stops. That's it, over. But when this is enhanced by the enzyme, that is cholinesterase, right? The once acetylcholine is showing its action, once its job is finished, the enzyme cholinesterase, acetylcholinesterase comes and breaks down the acetylcholine molecule. But what happens if you see reversible candidates, physostigmine and all? What they do, they bind to the cholinesterase enzyme and inhibit the cholinesterase enzyme. So when cholinesterase enzyme is inhibited, okay, it cannot show its effect, that is it cannot break the acetylcholine molecule. What happens, the action of parasympathetic nervous system will be enhanced, okay, for the longer duration than the usual. Okay, usual ga మనకి యాక్షన్ చూపించి ఎస్టైల్కోలిన్ వెళ్ళిపోవాలంటే ఎస్టైల్కోలినెస్టరేజ్ అనే ఎంజైమ్ వచ్చి ఎస్టైల్కోలిన్ బ్రేక్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, కానీ ఈ రివర్సిబుల్ డ్రగ్స్ క్యాండిడేట్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో, ఫైజోస్టిగ్మిన్, నియోస్టిగ్మైన్, పిరిడోస్టిగ్మైన్, ఎడ్రోఫోనియం, యాంబినోనియం, టాక్రిన్, వాట్ దే డూ, అవి ఏం చేస్తాయంటే ఆ ఎస్టైల్కోలినెస్టరేజ్ ఎంజైమ్ని ఇన్హిబిట్ చేస్తాయి. ఎంజైమ్ ఇన్హిబిట్ చేసినప్పుడు ఆ ఎంజైమ్ పోయి ఎస్టైల్కోలిన్ని బ్రేక్ చేయనప్పుడు పారాసింపాథటిక్ యాక్షన్స్ అనేవి కంటిన్యూస్గా జరుగుతాయి. కానీ ఇక్కడ ఇవి రివర్సిబుల్, అంటే దే విల్ బైండ్ టు ది ఎంజైమ్ యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ దే విల్ leave the enzyme in a short period, okay, short period of time. But irreversible candidates like isofluorophate, ecothiopate, parathion and malathion, they will permanently bind to the enzyme and they will deactivate the enzyme cholinesterase. So what happens, the continuous signal will be given through the parasympathetic nervous system. So it will be like fits, continuous triggering of the signals. Okay, if you observe the fits is a general phenomenon where people lose their consciousness and their bodily movements will be rapidly movements will be observed in muscles. They will, and we used to keep traditionally some keys bunch will be kept in their hands to control, right? So although it is not scientifically proven, it is the common practice. So such kind of rapid signal firing will happen. So that this is very much possible with irreversible parasympathomimetics. Okay, so if you please do remember these 4 candidates, irreversible candidates, and observe the labels of pesticides. You will find these names on pesticide labels. Okay, farmers accidentally coming into the exposure to pesticides will observe such effects and they will lose their lives due to the exposure to such chemicals. Majorly parathion and malathion you will see very commonly, okay, on pesticide, insecticide labels. Okay, so as a pharmacist you should be in a position to suggest an antidote. Okay, the antidote for such conditions is the drug named as pralidoxin chloride. Pralidoxin chloride is an antidote for irreversible parasympathomimetics. So it is coming under cholinesterase reactivator. Cholinesterase reactivator. That means cholinesterase enzyme is damaged by the above four candidates. Now that is a poisoning. So we use pralidoxime chloride as a antidote in such conditions. What it will do? It will restore the function of acetylcholinesterase so that the continuous triggering will be stopped. So this you must remember. Reversible candidates will enhance for just little duration of time which we need. Okay, there is no harm with reversible. Of course, the dose dependent reactions may be observed. So this much you should remember at least for now. So this is the classification of parasympathomimetics. That means cholinomimetics. So let me revise this once again. The classification of parasympathomimetics involves two main categories. One is direct acting agents. The other one is indirect acting agents. Indirect acting in direct acting agents, you have two subcategories. One is cholinesters. Examples include acetylcholine, that is endogenous neurotransmitter for cholinergic system. And the other candidates, three candidates are carbachol, bethanechol, methacholine. Okay. And the second subcategory under direct acting agents is cholinomimetic alkaloid. That is, the example is pilocarpine or pilocarpine, whatever the way you pronounce. So these are direct acting parasympathomimetics or direct acting cholinomimetics. And the second category is indirect acting. They will have reversible and irreversible as main, and reversible and irreversible candidates act by binding to the cholinesterase enzyme that is involved in breaking down of acetylcholine molecule. Okay, reversible candidates will bind for very tiny moment and they will dissociate from the enzyme quickly. So that is the reason they are categorized as reversible. That means their binding to the cholinesterase is reversible. They will bind and they will leave the enzyme in a very short period of time. But irreversible candidates, which are very much present in pesticides and insecticides, will bind to cholinesterase and they will deactivate the enzyme permanently. Okay, that will be seen very commonly in pesticide or insecticide poison. Okay, in such conditions, cholinesterase reactivator, example is pralidoxime chloride, is given to treat such conditions of pesticide poisons. So let us see the examples of indirect acting parasympathomimetics. So reversible candidates include physostigmine, neostigmine, pyridostigmine, edrophonium chloride, aminonium chloride, tacrin. Okay, and irreversible indirect acting parasympathomimetics are isofluorophate, ecothiopate, parathion, malathion. And the third category, which is an antagonist, and that means which can be used as antidote for insecticide poisoning, is pralidoxime chloride. So this is the classification of parasympathomimetics. So we saw the biosynthesis of acetylcholine molecule, okay, and how it is catabolized after getting released. So the main points to remember are ATP, coenzyme, and acetate molecules are acetate molecule and coenzyme will be combined together to form acetyl coenzyme in the mitochondria with the help of ATP as energy source, and that acetyl coenzyme will be transported from mitochondria into cytoplasm. Okay, in cytoplasm, the choline molecules are transported inside from extracellular fluid through active transport, and inside the cytoplasm or exoplasm, the choline molecules combine with acetyl coenzyme to form acetylcholine. This acetylcholine will be transported into vesicles, will be stored there. When a stimulus is there, that means a signal to release the acetylcholine comes in. There will be influx of calcium ions to facilitate the joining of vesicle membrane with that of synaptic cleft, the membrane at synaptic cleft. Once this fusion happens, there will be a process of exoside reaction where the membranes will be opened and acetylcholine molecules stored in the vesicles will be released into the synapse. There, the acetylcholine molecules will bind to either nicotinic type or muscarinic type of the parasympathetic receptors and show their action. After showing their action, the acetylcholine molecules will be broken down by the enzyme called choline esterase. Okay. Again, the choline molecules and the the coenzyme, acetyl coenzyme will be recycled for purpose of making a new molecule of acetylcholine. And the previous cycle we have discussed will be repeated. Okay. In this process, we saw the classification. The classification includes direct acting parasympathomimetics. The first category includes acetylcholine and its analogs. They are structurally similar to acetylcholine. And an alkaloid, that is pilocarpine. These all are direct acting. And indirect acting agents include reversible and irreversible. So they are acting on cholinesterase enzyme, which breaks the acetylcholine molecule into choline and acetyl coenzyme. So reversible, there is no problem. With irreversible candidates, we have the poisoning. Okay, poisoning effect. To treat such conditions, we use pralidoxin chloride, which is categorized under cholinesterase reactivator, that activates the enzyme cholinesterase and reinstates the normal parasympathetic activity. So this is what we learned in today's class. So the biosynthesis and metabolism or catabolism of acetylcholine and classification of parasympathomimetics, and we also saw the receptor distribution, cholinergic receptor distribution. Okay, and you have to refer to the table that was suggested from the textbook, that is Rang and Dale pharmacology textbook, and you just compare according to the organ which sympathetic or adrenergic receptor is there, and simultaneously which parasympathetic or cholinergic receptor is there in the same organ, and what all are their functions. So please do refer to that table of receptor distribution shared with you earlier in the previous classes. Okay, fine. So now I would like to take the attendance. One moment. Stuck actually.
Sir, I'm taking attendance.
One moment, it is stuck.